Got a shorter video for you today, working on this 365 Cummins in this 1990 Ford L9000. Had to replace a couple of coolant hoses. These two right here that go to your Aftercooler. They were leaking and had coolant running down the block here. Had some on the steering gear the other day, and I kind of knew, ouch, that's too low. I kind of knew that it had a small leak, but the other day we were pulling a trailer with this, and it kind of got hot. Not like overheated or anything, it's just the engine warmed up, and I guess that's when it really went to leaking, because on one of the trips I was shutting a gate, and I noticed, oh, there's coolant all over the place. Probably ought to fix that sooner rather than later. So it's not that replacing those is necessarily difficult. I'm just here to give you a few pointers. If you've never done it before, you don't have a service manual, whatever, biggest thing is, I'll crawl in here, I guess. The biggest thing is that these two hoses, they are 1 1/8 internal diameter. They are not inch. They are not 1 1/4. They are 1 1/8. If you don't want to go to the Napa and buy a 3-foot stick of this silicone coolant hose, and I do highly recommend you use the silicone. Do not use rubber. It's kind of hard to get these off of here because you don't have a lot of space, and the silicone comes off easy and it goes back on easy. Rubber, not so much. So I highly advise going to the silicone coolant hose. If you don't want to buy a yard of it from Napa or wherever, you can buy it by the foot from McMaster Car. I will put a link in the description if you want to go look at that. I got the yarn reinforced. There is a steel reinforced. I would recommend the yarn because it's just, more flexibility is more better in this particular instance. Just for installing these, it's not that they're going to move very often when the engine's running or the truck's moving. So to get these off, the lower one is actually a crossover tube that goes, I can't see the camera, so I don't know what I'm pointing at. We'll go around the other side and show you. But it's a crossover tube that goes over to basically the thermostat housing. This one here, though, it's got a small, see if I can get you in there to show you. It's got that small metal line that jumps over to that coolant manifold part of it on the other side of the engine. You got to take that loose, and then this pipe goes down into there. I assume that is the water pump. I have a lot of confidence that's the water pump, or it's about to turn into the water pump. I can't get a good angle at it. Anyway, this pipe doesn't really like to move, but you can force it, hold it back, and just squeeze this piece of hose out of here, and then the new one back in. But it is tight. So, and also, you might think that this is an easy job because you can see it, and you're like, oh, you can get to it because it's on a big truck. The problem is with those two hoses in particular is that every conceivable angle to get at them is wrong. It goes against where your body would naturally want to be, and so you just have to strain, and it's just uncomfortable enough to be really annoying. It'd be a little easier if the not the air compressor, that's the air compressor. It'd be a little bit different if the air conditioning compressor was gone, but it's not. I could remove it. The AC is not hooked up on this yet, but I didn't really feel like taking it out just for this job. So anyway, coming around over here to the other side, again, we'll crawl up in here. Got to have like a 7-point program to see everything. Okay, we can get a really good angle here. Here is that little tiny crossover tube that goes into this cooling manifold here. And then the main crossover tube goes here to your thermostat housing, because your thermostat is like right down in there. When you have this pipe off, you can see it. This is also your lower radiator hose here. So kind of an important piece to have in. It's not something that you should just delete. Getting it off, take your hose clamps loose, right? And to get this out, you have to take these hose clamps off too. The best way to do it, also, I forgot, you got to take this loose, and there's another bolt right down in there that holds a clamp up, which helps hold this crossover pipe out of the way of things. Kind of important. Anyway, get all that loose. The best way to pull this out is to kind of like pick up on this end and twist it so that you're like twisting it towards the fan, because you have to clear If I call this an intercooler pipe, will someone get mad at me? We call it a turbo pipe. How about that? We call this a turbo pipe instead of an intercooler pipe, because I don't believe there's technically an intercooler on this, because Cummins refers to the core in this as an aftercooler core. So whatever, we're getting too technical. Point is, pick this up, kind of twist it out, and if it's loose down here, it'll kind of want to pull out and stuff on its own. It's tight. Nothing about this is going to be smooth necessarily, so if the motor's particularly dirty, I would advise you blow it off with compressed air, or preferably wash it first if you can, just to, you know, I know these have a coolant filter, but any dirt you can stop from getting in a cooling system is always a good idea, because you're going to bump stuff and you're going to knock dirt loose, because like I said, there's just no smooth way to get any of this out of here. So that's how you do the lower one. Now, to get the upper hose, like I said, this pipe here, you don't really have a lot of room to shove it. It doesn't want to move. I don't think it's supposed to. I moved it some. It doesn't leak. I've already tested this, and we're fine there. But you do have to take this little... Excuse you. Do you mind? I don't think you need... No, you can't... Hello? I don't think you should crawl up in there, Mr. Cat. You should not. You just stay right there in that tire. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. This little metal line, it has to come loose from... You should take it loose from here and here, is what you should do. At a minimum, you need to take it loose from one or the other, because it's going to interfere. You don't need anything interfering with movement, because you already have limited movement, right? So this needs to either be taken loose or taken off completely. I advise taking it off completely. There are a couple of rubber, I'm going to call them packing washers. It's basically what they are. These aren't quite a compression fitting, but they sort of are. I'm doing a bad job of explaining that, but there's a couple of rubber like packing washers in each end of these that you want to be careful not to lose or destroy if they're not already destroyed. Keep that in mind, because that's what seals it. There is not a brass ferrule in there that seals against everything. So, and don't go crazy when you tighten it up. But you do need to make sure that you get them seated pretty well, because I did not have this tight enough. I was afraid of over-tightening it, so I didn't have it tight enough, and after the truck got hot, coolant was pouring out of here pretty good. So I snugged her up the rest of the way. It's still not crazy, but it stopped leaking, and that's all that matters there. So those are kinds of the things that you need to get out of the way and removed to get these two little pieces of hose off. It is a process, and like I said, on that other side especially, every conceivable position you can be in to remove those hose clamps and everything else, it's just wrong. It's just awkward. At least it is for me. Maybe if you're a little bit smaller guy, because I'm 6'3", so it's not the most fun to crawl underneath and, you know, weasel around in here, but I manage it. Hey, I want down. Could you move? Could you, like, no, I don't. There, I have pet you. Now, you need to move, because I need to put my knee like where you're at. Otherwise, I'm going to fall on my ass getting out of here. Hey, do you mind? No, we'll give him a second. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of the overview of that. I know this isn't a complicated job, and if you're a trained diesel mechanic, you probably could figure this out on your own. I mean, I hope you could. Anyway, you're a trained diesel mechanic. I'm just a dumbass farmer, and I managed to figure it out. It's not hard. It's just, if I could save you a little bit of time, I will. The biggest thing is I had to wait on that foot of... No, it's really hard to get out of here with that cat in the way. Yeah, it's you. It's you. Don't you look away from me. Oh, he was looking away because I had the flash on. Anyway, yeah, it's not a hard job, but hopefully that'll give you some pointers and save you some time. I would advise draining the coolant. If there's any coolant in the system to be drained, I would advise draining it. On this one, handy dandy radiator drain right here, I just drained it into a clean bucket and then poured it back in. We are all about reducing, reusing, and recycling. This thing has already leaked out enough coolant that I couldn't reduce, reuse, recycle. We don't need to help it along. So, excuse me, the old pieces here, they were all silicone. I forgot to mention, that's why I'd stayed over there. The cat distracted me. The hose on the other side, on the passenger side for the crossover pipe, it is 1.25 inches. Right here. This is 1.25 inches. Those two are 1 1/8 inches. Very important distinction. There's a Cummins part number for all that, but why pay Cummins whatever price they want for a chunk of hose when you could spend $30 to get a foot of it from McMaster Car? And that was like $18 for the foot of 1 1/8 silicone coolant hose plus, you know, freight, because why not? I don't know, maybe if you're like a truck repair, your Cummins dealer will have it cheaper for you, but around these parts, and you know, in the middle of nowhere, the Cummins dealer does not stop by very often, and when he does, he usually wants a pretty penny for. And the thing is, the part numbers for that on the quick serve, they were just for the short little chunk of hose, and they just said it was straight hose, because I thought maybe there were bellows in there or something, and they had like a canvas wrap over to help protect them. That's what I wanted to make sure of, because I was looking at the parts diagram on quick serve. We're going way off track here, but that's okay. I said short video. No, it's okay. We're almost 12 minutes. We're good. So anyway, that's why I didn't get them from Cummins, because that's all they were right here. They had a little bit of kind of a canvas outer. And this piece I got from the local truck repair, this 1.25 inches. But they did not have 1 1/8 inches. Like I said, had to order that. 1.125 inches. This is nice stuff. Like I said, I got the yarn reinforced. There's your part number and stuff in case I forget to put it in the description. So yeah, these were the old pieces. This was on the thermostat housing side. This was not leaking, but if you're going to remove something that's 36 years old, you probably ought to replace it. Just saying. I'm pretty sure this is the piece that was leaking on that aftercooler. As we can see, maybe by, if I can actually focus the camera, and maybe you can kind of see it there. This camera is horrible about focusing. But anyway, these are the old pieces. They're not bad. They're not like torn or anything, but I did notice they were leaking. The hose clamps were tight. Always the first thing you want to check. Make sure your hose clamps are tight. If they are the screw clamp, you know, we get spoiled with the spring clamps that automatically tighten and stuff like that. When you got to tighten them yourself, it's always good to double check. And they were tight, and yeah, this thing was just leaking pretty bad. That's about the only place it could be leaking. So when I got done replacing everything, don't worry about the cat pulley. That's for the mulcher. Be a video on that here in, I don't know, eventually. So anyway, I got all this replaced. I fired the truck up, ran it. Only leak I had was on that little metal line up there. Like I said, tightened that up. Finally got it up to operating temperature. And I was running it at, 1,800 RPM. Just took forever to warm up. These things are so cold-blooded. And I also wanted to make sure the fan was going to work. And it does. It works very well. I've never heard the fan run on this thing, just because we've never driven it when it was very hot outside. Yeah, the fan works real good. And no leaks. So I'm happy with that. Everything seems to be okay. Now all we have to do is run it. And the only other thing wrong with it now is the stoplights are on all the time. But I just got a whole service manual for this thing, and we're going to get to the bottom of those stoplights. I tell you what, because trying to figure out how Ford wired this without a book is, it's tough. It's real tough. And I don't want to work that hard. So anyway, I think that'll do it for this video. I hope you found that useful. If you can decipher exactly the advice I was trying to give you. Biggest thing is those two pieces of hose are 1 1/8 inches. And if you don't have any of that on hand, you're going to want to before you take this thing out of commission. Because, well, you know, don't reuse old hose. That's probably a bad idea. So, yep. Anyway, I will get off here. Hope you guys found it useful. And that's it. We'll see you later.